The fascination with the cosmos has long captivated humanity's imagination, igniting curiosity about the mysteries that lie beyond our planet. Among these mysteries, the phenomenon of unidentified objects has frequently emerged, with reports of sightings ranging from Earth's surface to the vast expanse of space. Recent claims of unidentified objects seen close to the Moon have reignited discussions about otherworldly life, advanced technologies, and the limitations of our understanding of the universe. While skeptics and believers continue to engage in debates, these sightings near the Moon prompt us to consider the implications and potential explanations behind these mysterious encounters. This most recent sighting has been shared around social media, and it shows two glowing objects close to the Moon. Interestingly, it's been reported that the two objects could only be seen when the individuals zoomed in on their camera, and oddly enough, this isn't the first time that something like this has been reported. The man said that as he zoomed in to get a better view of the Moon, the craters and valleys revealed themselves in intricate detail. He adjusted the focus, and with each adjustment, the lunar surface appeared clearer. It was during this precise moment that something extraordinary happened. His trained eye caught a glimpse of two faint glimmering specks moving across the Moon's surface. At first, he dismissed the glows as mere artifacts or a trick of the light. To his astonishment, the two glows persisted, steadily traversing the Moon's face. They were not stars. Their movements were deliberate, calculated, and too close to be anything but extraordinary. The man said that he reached for his camera, quickly adjusting the settings to capture the mysterious objects. The two glows seemed to hover above the Moon, a serene and otherworldly ballet beneath the vastness of space. As the minutes passed, his initial disbelief transformed into a mixture of wonder and curiosity. The glows emitted a soft luminescence, casting a gentle radiance on the Moon's surface below. Eventually, after what felt like an eternity, the glows began to fade, their brilliance dimming until they were nothing more than ethereal wisps against the lunar backdrop. The unidentified objects moved off the Moon's edge and disappeared into the obsidian abyss of space, leaving behind a sense of awe and unanswered questions. For decades, individuals have reported seeing inexplicable objects in the sky, often accompanied by vivid descriptions of their appearance and behavior. However, the notion of unidentified objects near the Moon introduces an additional layer of intrigue. Our celestial companion, the Moon, has been a source of fascination and exploration since time immemorial. It is both a symbol of inspiration and an object of scientific study. The idea that unidentified objects are appearing in proximity to this celestial body intensifies questions about the nature and origin of these phenomena. One possible explanation for mysterious sightings near the Moon is the presence of advanced human-made technology, potentially originating from space agencies or classified military programs. As human capabilities in space exploration advance, it becomes increasingly plausible that we possess technologies capable of reaching lunar distances. Secretive projects or experimental craft could be responsible for some of these sightings. However, the question remains whether such technologies could account for the full range of reported characteristics, including sudden accelerations, abrupt changes in direction, and other maneuvers that challenge our current understanding of physics. Another perspective considers the possibility that these sightings could be related to natural celestial phenomena that we have yet to fully comprehend. Optical illusions, reflections, and atmospheric disturbances could potentially distort the appearance of objects, leading observers to mistake them for unidentified objects. Similarly, anomalies caused by cosmic debris or meteoroids could create temporary visual anomalies that perplex viewers. While such explanations may account for some cases, they might struggle to explain instances where unidentified objects exhibit deliberate behavior inconsistent with natural celestial processes. Among the more sensational explanations is the idea that these sightings represent advanced activity. The Moon, as Earth's closest neighbor in space, could hold particular interest for potential visitors from other star systems. The prospect of an advanced civilization observing or even interacting with our Moon raises profound questions about the motives, technology, and intentions of advanced entities. However, this notion rests heavily on assumptions about the intentions and capabilities of potential visitors, as well as the logistics of interstellar travel. It also raises concerns about why they would choose to reveal themselves in a manner that leads to mere fleeting glimpses, rather than direct contact. In evaluating these sightings, it's important to acknowledge the limitations of our human perception and the potential for misinterpretation. Psychological factors, including cognitive biases and perceptual errors, can influence how we process and remember what we observe. Additionally, the vastness of space and the complexities of its interaction with light can create illusions that challenge our ability to accurately assess the nature of distant objects. Furthermore, the advancement of technology, such as powerful telescopes and high-resolution cameras, has made it easier to capture and share images and videos of celestial phenomena. While these tools offer new opportunities for documentation, they also raise concerns about the potential for hoaxes, misidentifications, and the influence of digital manipulation. The realm of space exploration has always been marked by a blend of scientific inquiry and the allure of the unknown. Over the years, numerous reports of unidentified objects have added an extra layer of intrigue to this field. While these objects have often been associated with science fiction, recent developments suggest that even established space agencies, such as NASA, are taking a closer look at these enigmatic phenomena. Unidentified objects are objects observed in the sky that exhibit flight characteristics beyond the scope of conventional human-made aircraft. Historically, these sightings have generated speculation about advanced life, advanced technologies, and government cover-ups. However, a growing body of evidence, coupled with technological advancements in observation and data analysis, has prompted NASA to address the subject with a more open-minded and scientific approach. NASA's primary mission is to explore space, advance scientific knowledge, and expand our understanding of the universe. This mission naturally extends to studying any phenomena that might occur within the celestial realm, including those that challenge our current scientific paradigms. As sightings continue to be reported by credible sources, including trained pilots and military personnel, NASA recognizes the importance of rigorously investigating these occurrences. The interest in unidentified objects within the scientific community is not a new development. In recent years, NASA's attention to unidentified objects has manifested in a more systematic and transparent manner. The establishment of the Unidentified Aerial Phenomena Task Force within the US Department of Defense, which collaborates with other agencies including NASA, signifies a renewed effort to gather and analyze credible data on sightings. The goal is to determine whether any observed phenomena pose potential national security threats or could offer insights into new aerospace technologies. NASA's involvement in investigating unidentified objects underscores the agency's commitment to scientific rigor and evidence-based inquiry. The study of unidentified objects within the framework of established scientific methodologies allows for the identification of misperceptions, optical illusions, and conventional explanations that might account for many sightings. This approach seeks to demystify these occurrences while recognizing the small subset of cases that remain genuinely unexplained. Furthermore, NASA's exploration of unidentified objects holds broader implications for our understanding of the universe. As technology advances, our ability to observe distant celestial objects and phenomena improves. Unexplained observations, such as unidentified objects in space, provide an opportunity to refine our instruments, observation techniques, and understanding of natural phenomena. Whether these objects are atmospheric anomalies, cosmic debris, or even extraterrestrial probes, studying them enhances our capacity to differentiate between known and unknown entities in space. It's important to acknowledge that the investigation of these objects within the scientific community remains a contentious topic. As the privatization of space exploration continues to advance, SpaceX, the pioneering aerospace company founded by Elon Musk, has become a leader in the development of innovative rocket technology and ambitious missions to colonize Mars. Alongside the public's fascination with these advancements, there has been a growing interest in reports of unidentified objects spotted in the vicinity of SpaceX missions. Since the company's inception, there have been several instances of mysterious aircraft sightings reported during SpaceX missions. These sightings have ranged from mysterious lights and unexplained objects seen near rocket launches to unidentified craft observed near the International Space Station during SpaceX resupply missions. One of the most widely discussed sightings happened on April 19th, when a strange black triangle was seen in the background of the Starlink mission, which led to a flurry of social media posts and speculations about advanced visitors. Shortly after the launch, observers spotted the black triangle in the background, and theories were soon put forward to explain what the object was. Although SpaceX didn't respond to this sighting, in the past, officials said that these objects are likely space debris. Many of these sightings associated with SpaceX missions have been debunked by experts who provide plausible, natural explanations for the observed phenomena. These explanations often involve atmospheric and lighting conditions, space debris, or other human-made objects in Earth's orbit. While some sightings can be readily explained by natural phenomena or human activity, others remain unexplained and continue to generate debate among enthusiasts and researchers. The growing interest in sightings related to SpaceX missions has several implications for the public's perception of unidentified phenomena and the possibility of advanced life. As private space exploration becomes more commonplace, the general public has greater access to information and visual media related to rocket launches and other space missions, increasing the likelihood of witnessing and reporting unusual phenomena. Additionally, the association of sightings with cutting-edge space technology and missions, such as those conducted by SpaceX, can fuel the public's curiosity and speculation about the existence of extraterrestrial life and advanced civilizations. This interest is further amplified by the recent declassification of footage and reports by the United States government, which has led to increased public discourse and debate about unidentified aerial phenomena. As of right now, these sightings that have been captured during SpaceX missions represent a fascinating intersection of public interest in cutting-edge space exploration and the ongoing debate surrounding unidentified phenomena. While many of these sightings can be debunked through careful analysis and expert explanations, some remain unexplained, continuing to captivate the imaginations of enthusiasts and the general public alike. As private space exploration continues to advance, it is likely that interest in mysterious aircrafts will increase.
NASA's Webb delivers deepest infrared image of universe yet. The James Webb Telescope also captured an infrared image of SMACS 0723, which is a galaxy cluster filled with a myriad of various galaxies. The JWST went a step further by highlighting some of the faintest objects in space ever captured. Granted, the image taken is nothing but a tiny part of a huge universe, a small snapshot into the distant unknown. The reason behind the choice of capturing a galaxy cluster is that clusters act somewhat like magnifying glasses. They help astronomers find galaxies even further away. Some of these distant galaxies witnessed the universe's infancy billions of years ago. The JWST used its NIRCam to create the image utilizing a composition of varying wavelengths. It took just over 12 hours to produce, and the results outshine even the amazing images taken by the Hubble Space Telescope, many of which take several weeks to complete. SMACS 0723 was captured by the James Webb Telescope in the exact same beauty it possessed over 4.6 billion years ago, a live reflection from the past. This galaxy cluster can be observed from the south in the direction of the constellation Volans. There is still not much known about the galaxies in the cluster, but scientists hope to uncover more as the JWST's data is processed. The image produced by the James Webb Telescope focuses on tiny clusters of stars that are typically overlooked or overshadowed in images taken of space, but the JWST image showcases all the tiny features of the galaxy cluster that have never been seen prior. The light we see is reflected from billions of years ago. We see these galaxies as they were long before the rise of humanity on Earth because the light takes so long to reach us. When looking at the image, we see youthful galaxies, some of which formed not long after the Big Bang itself. Scientists hope to discover individual galaxies in the cluster's masses, chemical compositions, ages, and personal histories. Every galaxy has a story to tell that astronomers hope to uncover and piece together. Space dust is prevalent in the image and encases our cosmos in colors of all sorts, highlighting the glorious beauty and glamour of our cosmos for how otherworldly it is. Dust is crucial in the creation of stars, but some galaxies, such as blue ones, possess very little of it. Red galaxies, in comparison, have a plenitude of this star-creating dust, while green galaxies generally are mostly filled with chemical compounds such as hydrocarbons. All this amazing research will shed light on how galaxies form and why they are this way, including insight into how they merge, expand, and thrive. Perhaps scientists might use this information to answer the question of why some galaxies cease star production entirely. The James Webb Telescope has captured 48 different galaxies at once using its near-infrared spectrograph.
Astronomers detect secret water reserves in the solar system's largest canyon. Valles Marineris, also known as the Grand Canyon of Mars, is the largest canyon in our solar system. But Valles Marineris attracts scientific curiosity for more than just its size. The 2,485-mile-long canyon system may also be home to hidden reserves of water. Recent data from an instrument known as the ESA Roscosmos ExoMars Trace Gas Orbiter's FRIEND shows abnormal hydrogen levels below Mars's surface. Unlike previous instruments, FRIEND, which stands for Fine Resolution Epithermal Neutron Detector, can detect neutrons up to a meter below the surface of Mars. According to physicist Alexei Malakov, neutrons are produced when highly energetic particles known as galactic cosmic rays strike Mars. Low neutron levels indicate the presence of hydrogen. Because dry soil emits more neutrons than wet soil, the number of neutrons emitted by soil beneath Mars's surface can indicate levels of water. Between May 2018 and February 2021, FRIEND collected the data that indicates high concentrations of subsurface hydrogen. It suggests that soil up to a meter deep in the Valles Marineris region contains water that is either locked inside minerals or ice. Because it is unusual for minerals in this region to contain large amounts of water, experts believe that water ice near the surface is the more probable explanation. If the hydrogen is truly forming water molecules, this suggests that water makes up to 40% of the area close to the surface in the region. This watery area is roughly the size of the Netherlands. This discovery is unexpected, as the pressure and temperature around the Mars equator does not create a suitable environment for large stores of water. The presence of water in Valles Marineris suggests unusual conditions, possibly relating to the angle of its slopes. The water may also be sitting in scattered ancient deposits. This discovery of water is fascinating because of its surprising location, but this is not the first reserve found on the planet. It appears that the majority of water on Mars exists in the poles in the form of ice. The warmth surrounding the equator prevents the formation of ice at many latitudes. Water on Mars is typically found at higher latitudes, but this recent finding suggests it can be located under the surface as well. The watery region of Valles Marineris is abundant despite unfavorable conditions at the equator. Because of this, it has been compared to the permafrost regions of Earth, where ice is constantly present underneath the dry soil due to lower temperatures. It is still unclear exactly why water has been able to form near the Mars equator and what form that water takes. Understanding the form and conditions of this water may lead to even more important discoveries. This water could expand the possibilities for exploration on Mars. Space crew would likely land around the equator, and accessible water close to the surface could mean greater survival capabilities for the crew. If the water exists in a permafrost-like state, it could contain frozen microorganisms or signs of previous life in the form of organic molecules. And if this water is only a meter below the surface, signs of life on Mars might not be so difficult to come by after all. Scientists say that 4 mysterious signals from outer space are coming from galaxies like ours. Astronomers have discovered strange signals coming from the center of the Milky Way galaxy. Australian scientists, using the Australian Square Kilometre Array Pathfinder radio telescope, detected these signals 4 times over the span of 2 weeks.
The transmissions, originating roughly 4,000 light-years away near the core of our galaxy, consist of irregular pulses and bursts that scientists have never seen before. During the early stages of planet formation, radio signals of similar frequencies are emitted. These new signals are more erratic than those emitted during planet creation, confusing scientists. Nothing about the signals follow a pattern that has been seen before. The intensity of the radio signal varies randomly. The orientation and rotational direction of the transmission is random and changes frequently, and the timing of the signals cannot be planned. Experts from the University of Sydney have shared they believe the signals are coming from a new type of star that we have never seen before. Ziteng Wang, a PhD student in the School of Physics at the University of Sydney, said the brightness of the object also varies dramatically by a factor of 100, and the signal switches on and off apparently at random. We've never seen anything like it. Due to the variability of the transmission, scientists first believed it could be from a supernova, solar flare, or pulsar. But the emissions received do not match with what is known about those phenomena. Still, scientists have no idea what caused the signals. Their hope is placed on a new radio telescope being built within the next decade. The telescope, called the Transcontinental Square Kilometre Array Radio Telescope, will hopefully solve this mystery. Professor Tara Murphy from the Sydney Institute for Astronomy and the School of Physics said, "We expect the power of this telescope will help us solve mysteries such as this latest discovery, but it will also open vast new swathes of the cosmos to exploration in the radio spectrum. From discoveries that help us understand the universe to discoveries that make us question what we already know, the vast expanse of space continues to make us wonder."
Granger Taylor was a Canadian mechanic and pilot who gained notoriety for his mysterious disappearance in 1980. He was an eccentric figure who had a fascination with space and aliens, and he had reportedly made numerous attempts to contact extraterrestrial beings. Taylor's disappearance was unusual in that he left behind a note that seemed to suggest he was voluntarily leaving Earth on an alien spaceship. The note, which was found in his workshop, reads as follows: "I have gone away to walk aboard an alien spaceship, as reoccurring dreams assured a 42-month interstellar voyage to explore the vast universe, then return. I am leaving behind all my possessions to you, as I will no longer require the use of any. Please use the instructions in my will as a guide to help. Love, Granger." End quote. Taylor's family and friends were mystified by his disappearance, and the note only added to the confusion. Many people believed that he had been abducted by advanced beings, while others speculated that he had staged his own disappearance as part of an elaborate hoax. Taylor had always been an unusual character, and he had a long history of strange behavior. He was known for tinkering with machinery and building his own planes and cars, often using unorthodox methods. He also had a deep interest in the paranormal and was known to dabble in astrology, numerology, and other esoteric subjects. Despite the speculation surrounding his disappearance, no trace of Taylor was ever found, and his fate remains a mystery to this day. Some people believe that he may have simply walked off into the wilderness and perished, while others maintain that he was indeed taken aboard a spaceship. The case of Granger Taylor has become something of a legend, and it continues to fascinate people around the world. Some people see him as a tragic figure, driven to madness by his obsession with advanced life and the unknown, while others view him as a visionary who was simply ahead of his time. Initially, it seemed like a harmless and amusing endeavor. However, as he constructed a radio transceiver, allowing him to communicate with advanced beings, based on the recurring dreams he had about aliens and mysterious aircrafts, concerns surfaced regarding his mental well-being. On the night that he went missing, nearby residents claimed to have heard a loud bang, with some coming forward and saying that a bright light could be seen in the sky. This caused some to speculate whether Taylor had in fact been picked up by an advanced aircraft, and the bright lights that were witnessed belonged to the same craft, while others said that the loud bang could have been due to dynamite. According to Taylor's friend Keller, a severe storm occurred in Duncan on the night in question, which makes it plausible that the noise heard was thunder. According to Taylor's belief, Keller was informed that the advanced beings would possibly come during bad weather, as it could serve as cover while they traveled. Interestingly, Taylor's possession of dynamite at the time of his disappearance should not be considered relevant, as those who knew him said that he was an expert with dynamite and said that he wouldn't have done anything to cause himself harm. Keller was involved in the construction of the spaceship that was built on Granger's farm. He firmly believes that his friend would not do anything that would cause harm, and describes him as an extremely intelligent, pragmatic, and wise individual. According to Keller, Taylor was the epitome of level-headedness. Keller and his family were among the last individuals to have seen Taylor alive. According to him, he would have noticed if Taylor had any unusual intentions, as he was a very intelligent person who lived his life normally. However, he believes that after being called a spaceman, he began to be seen as someone who was not level-headed. Regardless of what actually happened to Taylor, his story has become a powerful symbol of the human desire to explore and understand the unknown. It is a reminder that, despite our many technological advances and scientific discoveries, there are still mysteries in the world that elude us, and that the quest for knowledge and understanding is never truly over. The mysterious disappearance of experienced hiker Karen Sykes. On the 18th of June back in 2014, renowned hiker and climber Karen Sykes would disappear from the slopes of Mount Rainier, located in the state of Washington, after stepping out of view from her hiking partner for only a few minutes. For the investigators tasked with making sense of Karen's sudden vanishing, the case would be considered one of the most bizarre disappearances recorded on the slope of Mount Rainier. Even more difficult to explain, the years of experience held by Karen Sykes would make the investigation even more puzzling as the days for her search dragged on. According to the official report, Karen Sykes was a professional journalist who had more than 10,000 hours of hiking and camping under her belt by the time of her disappearance. Despite being 70 years old, friends and family of Karen Sykes revered her athletic abilities and would often remark that she was in perfect health despite her age. It was due to her many years of hiking experience and her amazing physical abilities at such an old age that Karen Sykes was well known within the American Northwest hiking community. After spending several years running her own private blog titled Karen Trails, in which the 70-year-old hiker would write about the many different hiking trails all across the American Northwest, including Washington, Oregon, and Northern California, Karen Sykes would eventually be hired by both the Seattle Times and the Seattle Post-Intelligencer. While working for both newspapers, Karen Sykes would write several dozen articles focused on hiking tips and survival advice, which trails were the most pleasant and with the least amount of tourists, and many personal stories regarding her own hiking and climbing sessions over the years. Eventually, her reading fan base would grow to such a size that Karen Sykes would eventually publish several books on hiking across the state of Washington and interviewing some of the most skilled climbers in the United States. After co-authoring several book publications, Karen would take up a small hobby of professional photography, helping her to author another book on choosing the best trails for hikers wishing to see amazing views, pass through areas rich with wildflowers, and stay completely safe while hiking. It would be by this point in her career that Karen Sykes would have accrued a vast amount of experience in hiking, climbing, and scrambling, and was referred to by the Seattle Times as the guru of the trails. Yet, despite this vast amount of experience with the outdoors and other famous trail guides and climbers, on the 18th of June, 2014, a disaster would soon strike. According to Karen's boyfriend, as the two were getting ready in the morning of June 18th, Karen Sykes had told her boyfriend that she wanted to visit an area of Mount Rainier that she had visited several times in the past to help finish her research for a new article she was planning on writing about the trail. Expecting to spend the better part of an entire day, the two packed extra survival equipment, food, water, and overnight gear in the event that their hike took longer than usual. By the early afternoon, the couple were out on the slopes of Mount Rainier, following the safe open trails closer to the base of the mountain, with the highest point of the trail being around 5,000 feet, much lower than where people typically tend to disappear or get injured. According to Karen Sykes' boyfriend, Bob Morthorst, the couple were halfway up the trail when Bob needed to take a short break. Karen, who was still in good shape, decided to walk up the trail a little further to scope out the trail ahead before returning to where her boyfriend decided to rest. Morthorst would later tell investigators that Karen had only been gone for about 10 to 20 minutes when he started to grow worried and began to head up the trail to look for her. After about an hour of searching, Bob Morthorst was unable to locate any sign of Karen Sykes, even after wandering the wide-open trail while calling out to her. Worried that something far more dangerous had occurred, he would immediately return to areas staffed by the National Park Service and would ask for a search and rescue effort to immediately be put underway. Bob Morthorst would later tell investigators that he was unsure of what had happened and whether or not Karen had been injured or merely wandered off of the trail by accident. Morthorst would remark that given her vast experience on those trails, it seemed highly unlikely that Karen Sykes could have gotten lost or wandered away from the obvious trail lines, even if she had forgotten a hiking map or any other equipment to help reorient herself. Despite her sudden vanishing, hopes remained high for Bob Morthorst and members of the National Park Service who believed that she would be found and returned in only a few hours. Given the fact that the reported time of her disappearance was much earlier in the day, it also provided search and rescue with enough daylight to locate her before nightfall, where temperatures were expected to plummet to unsafe levels. Additionally, given the fact that the couple had each packed extra gear and supplies to survive an overnight stay, volunteers were in high hopes for the first 12 hours of her search. Within the first hour of her search, the National Park Service would bring together 6 ground crews made up of an average of 3 search and rescue volunteers each, 2 canine teams that were experienced in located lost hikers by picking up their scent and finding their tracks, as well as an airplane that flew over the area to try to find any signs of Karen Sykes around her expected trail. According to Bob Morthorst, the trail that the couple had planned on exploring was the Ojai Lakes Trail, a 13-kilometer-long hiking trail that wrapped around the slope of Mount Rainier in wide open spaces with low vegetation and fields of surrounding wildflowers. Similar to Karen Sykes, Bob Morthorst also had a history in writing articles related to hiking and the outdoors for the Seattle Post-Intelligencer, though focused more on the casual hiking and amateur outdoorsman categories. It was due to their work and Karen's desire to get photographs of the region that the couple planned on staying along the Ojai Lakes Trail, and so it was incredibly unlikely that Karen Sykes would have wandered away from the trail at any point during the hike. Armed with this information, the search and rescue teams would first search all along the trail and within a 5-mile radius surrounding the trail in the hopes of stumbling across Karen, though next to no sign of her was uncovered by any of the ground teams, the canine teams, or the overhead aircraft. After the first day of searching for Karen Sykes, search and rescue teams started to grow nervous. The temperatures were believed to have plummeted to below freezing, and still no sign of where the 70-year-old hiker had traveled off to was uncovered. After a couple of days of non-stop searching, with investigators questioning hikers in the hopes of anyone having seen the 70-year-old woman prior to her disappearance, still, there was no evidence to help point the search and rescue teams in the right direction. In a last-ditch effort to locate Karen Sykes, the search and rescue teams expanded their search radius by a total of 20 miles from the Ojai Lakes Trail, closing down the majority of the park to prevent any contamination of sensitive sites or missing gear. On the third day of searching for Karen Sykes, after roughly 80 hours and an estimated 4,000 man-hours of searching, the search for Karen Sykes would be called to a halt after an older woman was found more than 15 miles away from the Ojai Lakes Trail. Due to the time that had passed, it was nearly impossible for friends or family to accurately identify, and so the search was suspended until a proper autopsy could help to identify the individual. In the meantime, investigators were uncertain if this was Karen Sykes, as the body was found an estimated 15 miles away from the trail, as well as in an area nearly impossible to traverse on foot. Search and rescue volunteers would describe the area as being in one of the roughest, steepest terrain of the national park, and in a more desolate region not frequently visited or travelled on. It seemed incredibly difficult for investigators to explain how it would have been possible for Karen Sykes to have lost her path from the trail and to continue through an area far steeper and rougher than anywhere she knew she should have been. It would have been more likely for her to have turned around instead of continuing through the rough, steep terrain. Oddly enough, after the DNA tests were completed, the Pierce County Medical Examiner's Office would confirm that the individual that was found was Karen Sykes. According to the coroner's office, it was believed that signs of hypothermia were responsible for her passing, But after a closer inspection, the Pierce County Medical Examiner's Office would report that Karen's passing was caused by a heart attack. Although the later stages of hypothermia could cause blood flow issues and heart problems, it is far more likely for a person suffering from hypothermia to pass from kidney or liver failure. At first, the finding was so strange due to Karen's perceived athletic ability and good physical health that family and friends were suspicious of the finding. After investigations ended, the official primary cause of her passing would be deemed as hypothermia. Without further investigation, the passing of Karen Sykes was deemed an accident, and no further actions were taken on the part of the investigators. Regardless of the official cause, friends and family remained puzzled about the nature of Karen's disappearance and recovery. How could Karen have ended up so far away from the trail and in steep, rough terrain after walking away from Bob Morthorst for only 10 to 20 minutes? Even more strange was the lack of gear that had been found on her when she had been recovered. Given Karen's vast experience in the outdoors, and more specifically the slopes of Mount Rainier, her passing is only made more bizarre in light of the circumstances. The concept of time travel has long captivated the human imagination and sparked fascination and curiosity across cultures and generations. The very idea of journeying through time, either to revisit the past or explore the future, holds a profound allure for many. One alleged time traveler just recently announced that something bad is going to happen. The individual in question said that his name is Alexander, and he claimed to be a time traveler from the future. He appeared disheveled, wearing clothes that seemed out of place, and carried an air of urgency and foreboding. He spoke of a future society on the brink of collapse, ravaged by environmental degradation, social unrest, and economic inequality. His words painted a grim picture of a world plagued by wars, scarcity of resources, and a complete breakdown of societal structures. He warned that unless immediate action was taken, this impending catastrophe would occur within the next 5 years. Users on social media listened with a mix of disbelief and concern. Some dismissed Alexander as being delusional, while others contemplated the possibility of his claims. They pondered the repercussions of ignoring his warning and the potential consequences for their own lives and future generations. Although the idea of Alexander being a time traveler seemed far-fetched, his message weighed heavily on those who had read it. Many voiced their concerns with how the world is and said that it's likely that things are going to get worse in the future. Alexander posted one more on social media, telling people once again that things will get much worse before they get better, and told people that an uprising will happen within the next 5 years, saying that people couldn't deal with the conditions any longer. Some pointed out that these claims are rooted in reality, with one of Alexander's warnings being about famine. The issue of famine and its potential future impact is a complex and multifaceted one. While it is challenging to predict with certainty, there are several factors that suggest the possibility of increased risks of famine in the future. One of the primary factors contributing to concerns about future famine is the growing global population. As the world's population continues to expand, the demand for food resources increases. Coupled with environmental challenges, land degradation, and water scarcity, meeting the food needs of a larger population becomes more difficult. If proper measures are not taken to enhance agricultural productivity, improve distribution systems, and address environmental concerns, the risk of food shortages and subsequent famines could rise. Changing weather patterns, extreme weather events, and rising temperatures can have detrimental effects on agricultural production. Heat waves, droughts, floods, and shifts in rainfall patterns can lead to crop failures, livestock losses, and reduced food availability. Vulnerable regions that heavily rely on agriculture as their main source of food and income are particularly at risk. If adaptation strategies and resilient agricultural practices are not implemented, the impacts on food production may exacerbate the risk of famine. Furthermore, economic factors, including poverty, play a significant role in determining the vulnerability of populations to famine. Alexander warned that we have to prepare for this because as of right now, there's no way of stopping it. Another alleged time traveler is that of Andrew Basiago. Andrew Basiago is a controversial figure known for his claims of being a participant in a secret government project involving time travel and teleportation. While his assertions have gained attention, and sparked curiosity among some individuals, they are met with skepticism by many within the scientific community and the general public. Basiago asserts that he was involved in a classified project called Project Pegasus during his childhood in the late 1960s and early 1970s. According to his accounts, the project involved sending individuals, including adolescents, through time and space using advanced technologies. Basiago claims to have been selected as a participant in these experiments due to his exceptional abilities and intelligence. One of Basiago's most remarkable claims is that he was sent back in time to witness historical events, including significant moments such as Abraham Lincoln's Gettysburg Address in 1863. He asserts that these experiences were part of the government's efforts to gather intelligence and alter the course of history. Basiago has shared detailed accounts of his alleged time travel experiences, including specific dates, locations, and interactions with historical figures. He has presented photographs that he claims provide evidence of his presence during these time-traveling excursions. However, critics argue that the authenticity and reliability of these photographs are questionable, and they lack verifiable evidence to support his claims. Furthermore, Basiago's accounts of time travel and teleportation go against our current understanding of physics and the limitations imposed by the laws of nature. The concept of time travel, especially backward time travel, remains highly speculative and is not supported by scientific consensus. While scientists have explored theories such as wormholes and time dilation, the practicality and plausibility of these ideas are yet to be fully understood or realized. Additionally, Basiago's claims lack independent corroboration, making it challenging to assess the veracity of his experiences. The absence of credible witnesses or other participants from Project Pegasus further undermines the credibility of his accounts. Skeptics argue that the lack of collaboration or support from others who allegedly participated in these clandestine projects raises doubts about the existence of such initiatives. Basiago's assertions have been met with skepticism by researchers, scientists, and the general public. His claims have not been subjected to rigorous scientific scrutiny or replicated under controlled conditions. Without substantial evidence, it is challenging to accept his accounts as reliable or accurate representations of historical events or time travel experiences. It is worth noting that mainstream scientific and academic communities remain unconvinced and cautious in their assessment of his assertions. The scientific method, which relies on empirical evidence, testable hypotheses, and peer review, demands a higher standard of proof than what Basiago has presented thus far. While Basiago's claims may be captivating and fuel the imagination, it is crucial to approach them critically and with skepticism. Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence, and until compelling, verifiable evidence is presented, it is reasonable to question the validity of his assertions. As of right now, Andrew Basiago's claims of involvement in a secret government project involving time travel and teleportation are met with skepticism and scrutiny by the scientific community and the general public. While his accounts of time travel experiences may capture the interest of some, they lack the necessary evidence and independent corroboration to be considered credible or scientifically valid. It is important to approach such claims with a critical mindset, relying on empirical evidence and rigorous scientific investigation to assess their plausibility.
Rock apes in Vietnam. As the American GIs battled through the dense jungles of Vietnam, the US government began a defoliation program to assist in the jungle warfare and clear out the native plant life in war-torn areas. Although the lasting effects of Agent Orange are still being uncovered in the modern day, with a wide range of birth defects, brain damage, heart damage, and cancer-causing agents, there appears to have been an unforeseen consequence of Agent Orange during the Vietnam War. Referred to by American soldiers as rock apes, consistent reports were made by a wide number of platoons of giant humanoid creatures fleeing the dying jungles of Vietnam and encountering the American GIs with sticks and rocks in battle. One veteran wrote the following report. Serving with the 101st Airborne in the mountains of Vietnam, I saw them, the rock apes, on many occasions. They were as large as a big man and usually were in small groups of 2 to 3, unlike Bigfoot, but were bigger than most men and smaller than Bigfoot. They were spotted on days but would also set off our trip flares at night. This could very well be evidence that Bigfoot-like species inhabits the jungles of Vietnam and, under threat of their environment collapsing, came out of their hidden regions and battled with soldiers to save their forests, only to relocate to other jungles unaffected by the Agent Orange defoliant. World War II Airman UFO Encounter. Some of the most terrifying dogfights during wartime were first experienced during the Second World War, with desperate Japanese pilots committing kamikaze just to get a leg up on the war, German fighter planes pushing the boundaries of flight technologies to fly faster and further than previously theorized possible, underground British factories piecing together advanced fighter jets with dwindling resources for dramatic last stands, and US Air Force pilots holding their own in some of the largest aerial bombers that had ever been constructed in history. All of these advancements failed in comparison, however, to the strange technological advances witnessed by United States airmen that claimed to have witnessed countless encounters with unidentified flying objects. Described as cigar-shaped rocket-like crafts, on the late November evening back in 1944, the 415th Night Fighter Squadron reported seeing a number of peculiar lights along the Rhine Valley Ridge, north of the French-German border. The report detailed that there were about 81 lights in a row that emanated a fiery orange glow. As the Night Fighter Squadron turned to attack the craft, the lights faded and appeared to have disappeared from the region entirely. This was one of a countless number of military reports that described similar-looking unidentified flying objects, with one of the strangest reports being the witness account of Lieutenant Samuel A. Krasny. According to Krasny's report, as he was flying, he noticed a large, wingless cigar-shaped object with a reddish glow floating alongside him just a few yards off the plane's wingtip, seemingly attached by an invisible wire maintaining a perfect distance and speed. Immediately, Krasny went into evasive maneuvers and rolled the plane while dropping down to get away from the craft, only to witness the cigar-shaped object follow his maneuvers perfectly and maintain its position relative to his airplane with perfect cadence. After several minutes of additional maneuvers, Krasny said that the object suddenly faded in color and shot off at an incredible impulse speed away from his craft before disappearing from sight. These lights were later provided the name of Foo Fighters by the airmen, witnessed in reference to Smokey Stover's comics that would say, "Where there's food, there's fire," reminiscent of the strange craft's fiery color.
Woodwoes. Woodwoes, also known as the hairy wild man, is a mysterious creature that is believed to have existed in Europe during the Middle Ages. It is believed that this Bigfoot-like creature had hair all over its body. It was more close to humans than apes, and it could be described as an extremely hairy wild human. There are a number of theories about the Woodwoes. Some people believed that Woodwoses were actually people who had gone into the woods. As they lived in the woods, over time they adapted to the conditions, and in order to protect themselves, they grew hair all over their bodies. According to another theory, some people who were born with an unusually high density of hair on their bodies retreated to the woods and decided to live in isolation as they could not live a normal life in human society. However, some modern-day researchers have proposed that they were actually Neanderthals who were still alive in Europe up until the Middle Ages. The praying mantis humanoid. A couple were walking together in Chicago's Schiller Woods, a large, fairly flat area of woodland on the outskirts of Chicago O'Hare Airport. There isn't anything particularly special about Schiller Woods, but the area has been host to multiple deaths over the years, most predating our story by some time. However, this isn't what we're focusing on today. The couple, for whatever reason, were going to practice a pagan ritual in the woods. They completed the majority of this ritual, but towards the end they spotted something strange amongst the trees. The lady jumped up, startled at what she'd spotted, and thought they'd just seen the Slender Man. The figure was around 7 or 8 feet tall and had a strange grey complexion with big bulbous eyes, the sort you'd find on an insect when viewed under a microscope. The witness explained that the creature had long arms that dropped below its knees, and that these arms were attached to strange, claw-like hands. The creature allegedly seemed keen to stay away from the couple and remained amongst the trees. It seemed reclusive and almost scared of them. The couple thought it would be best to leave the creature alone and hastily made their way back to the car. Still startled and feeling strangely in awe of what they'd just witnessed, the couple discussed
whether either of them had noticed anything strange or different whilst they'd been practicing the ritual. Neither of them could think of anything, but on the way home, they noticed something. The area around the woods was normally densely populated with animals. All sorts of deer, raccoons, and other wildlife were commonly sighted near Schiller. However, on the night of the sighting, no wildlife was to be seen anywhere. Schiller Woods were eerily quiet and empty. The creature that the couple saw had been described as a humanoid in the form of a praying mantis. Male praying mantis can fly, are long-bodied with disproportionately sized limbs. They're usually green, but given this one was 7 feet tall and allegedly part human, it's forgiven for not totally conforming to the stereotype. Whatever the couple saw in Schiller Woods that evening, we're sure that they're glad that thing stayed behind the trees.
Spring-heeled Jack. In 1837, a woman named Mary Stevens was walking to Lavender Hill in South London when suddenly a mysterious figure leaped in front of her. It grabbed her and scratched her body with its claws. As the woman started screaming, the passerby rushed to help her, but before they could reach, the mysterious figure had vanished. Locals searched for the mysterious aggressor, but they could not find him. This was only the first incident involving the mysterious aggressor with sharp, claw-like hands. Within the next few days, several other young women also reported similar incidents in London and the surrounding areas. The incidents associated with the mysterious figure made their way to the press, who gave it the name of Spring-heeled Jack. In February 1838, Spring-heeled Jack made another appearance. This time, a woman named Jane Alsop claimed that she was attacked at the door of her house by a mysterious gentleman who was wearing a cloak. According to her, someone had rang the doorbell, and when she opened the door to see who it was, the mysterious gentleman took off the cloak and breathed white and blue flames onto her. As she stood there in shock, the mysterious figure started cutting her clothes with its claws. The attacker fled after Alsop's sister rushed to the door to help her. The police arrested a man named Thomas Milbank, and a case was made against him. However, he couldn't be convicted as Jane Alsop insisted that the man who had attacked her could breathe fire. During 1838, many other incidents of Spring-heeled Jack attacking young women were reported, and gradually these incidents spread throughout England. Similar incidents were reported in Scotland as well. However, over time, the incidents associated to Spring-heeled Jack started decreasing. The mysterious man became a part of popular culture, however. A number of novels were written about him, and various supernatural abilities were attributed to him. The last reported sighting of Spring-heeled Jack was in 1904. Since then, there haven't been any other sightings. Over the years, there has been a lot of debate as to who or what this mysterious man or creature was. Some believe that it was merely a man trying to terrorize the locals in an effort to gain popularity. Others believe that it was a ghost-like creature that was attracted to young women. Whatever the reality of Spring-heeled Jack was, this Victorian demon has become a part of popular culture forever. But what do you make of these recent discoveries? Be sure to let us know your thoughts in the comment section below and help us grow this community while working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.